Welcome, Mackenzie, who might be probably my most excited guest to date. I love Mackenzie's energy. Bit of context on Mackenzie. We might have connected earlier in the year, I'll say. I don't know exactly when, but we just attended, I think, a workshop together, entrepreneurs workshop, and we just exchanged LinkedIn details. And since then, I think we've just been kind of following each other's content really on LinkedIn, and we'll talk more about it today in this particular podcast because I love Mackenzie's energy. And as we said before, we did this podcast today. I hadn't actually met or connected with Mackenzie in person, but we've messaged back and forth. But I just felt like I knew Mackenzie well, even though we haven't actually, chatted in this way, just because of her content is very unique and authentic and just gets across her personality very well. So I thought she'd be the perfect person to talk about this subject today because it's something I want to go into. In particular, there's a few words for it. You could call it a lifestyle business. You could call it soft entrepreneurship, which I hadn't heard of before. I kind of read that on Mackenzie's page. But essentially, building a lifestyle over revenue, which I think is something that I really resonate with. We're also going to this thing called a personal brand, which has obviously become very popular in our world of entrepreneurship in particular. What does that exactly mean? And how to build and create content that actually resonates with people, builds trust, and ultimately gets them to buy our product at the end of the day. So there's numerous things I want to go into here. But first of all, my first question, if you like, is always to find out a bit more about my guest. So a bit about your story, Mackenzie, in particular. Story, as we know, is crucial when building a personal brand. But wherever you'd like to start in terms of what's got you to this point today, where you're helping people build out their own personal brands, creating content for people, and what's led you to this place? Have you worked in a corporate environment yourself, or have you always, been working in entrepreneurship? Wherever you'd like to start off, really.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for the really nice intro, Mark. And I'm really happy to be here. And yeah, it definitely felt very aligned when we connected via that entrepreneurship workshop. And I've been definitely following your journey. And I love your content as well, and your personal stories, as well as, your mission too. It really speaks to me. And I actually, before this podcast, was taking a look at all of your freebies and stuff like that to kind of like see a little bit more what the deeper steps that I can take with you as well. So I just wanted to say, thank you so much for having me. And
Pleasure.
Really excited to see, where our connection takes us. So, I'm really honored to be here. And so for my journey, it's been a long one. I would say I am originally from the US, and I was working in corporate while I was there in marketing. So I was doing social media marketing there. It was mainly in the travel industry. So I think I always kind of had this sense of where content can take you in that way, in this sort of freedom sense, if we can create content about us and our life, what can that give to, sorry, I think I lost my train of thought. We can cut that one out. So just working in the travel industry, working with influencers, working with hotels and boutique hospitality businesses. I think I always valued this kind of freedom idea and a different path forward than just a traditional working in tech, moving to San Francisco and working for Google or something like that. So I think I kind of always saw my life as kind of this nomadic and potentially being entrepreneurial. So I kind of started my career with this idea that I would probably go freelance at some point and do freelance social media marketing. And that's exactly what I did. So I worked in corporate for only about a year, and then I quit my job, and then I moved. I moved abroad. I was traveling around Italy, and that's the first time that I came to Berlin. So I actually ended up moving. I got several clients as well, just from building my own personal brand online. I had a YouTube channel, and I was creating YouTube videos and basically showcasing what I do in social media marketing. And yeah, what's interesting was I kind of never left Europe. Like I was here and then I met my husband and then I moved to Amsterdam as well. And I have always kind of dabbled in only working freelance and a little bit corporate. I also did work for another hotel for in their content for their content team. But I think I always kind of like had this calling of I'm going to travel. I'm living abroad, and I want to do that via my personal brand. So, long story short, that's where I am today. And then yeah, now I help people with their content strategy and building their personal brand as well. So it's really nice. I love it.
Yeah, this is an amazing journey, really, because it sounds like you. I don't know whether it was just inbuilt in you, perhaps, then to create this lifestyle first approach to work. For a lot of people I connect with, my journey as well in particular, it was like, well, I fell into corporate really in the advertising world, because I loved art in particular, and I wanted to be creative, but I never really thought in that time, oh well, maybe I could create a lifestyle that suited me. It was like, well, clearly I have to work in an office somewhere, and I have to work from these set hours from 9 till whatever it was in the evening, and just kind of fell into that because that's what everyone else was doing. And it was only about, when did I first start exploring entrepreneurship? Maybe about 2019, something like that. And I started to hear about this idea of a lifestyle business. Until then, I kind of thought, well, entrepreneurship, well, that's not for me. That would kind of involve, having a brick and mortar business and having a huge team working for me. And I don't really know anything about business, so I guess it's not for me. And I got introduced to entrepreneurship via affiliate marketing. And I was like, wow, this whole world opened up for me. All of a sudden, okay, maybe I can create something for myself and I can actually create a life that works for me. And then this is what I want to get onto, is that you can actually, I was advised at that point to start thinking about what would an ideal day look like for me. And I was like, well, wow, I never thought about this. I can design my own day and create work that fits around that. And obviously it's a long journey then, for it didn't just fall in my lap, as obviously it never does with entrepreneurship. It's a lot of work, a lot of things you have to learn. But that point there where I suddenly started to journal about my ideal day and what I'd be doing and the kind of work I'd be doing and what I'd be doing, how I'd be feeling during my day, it sort of enabled me to create a vision for my life that I was able to work towards. Instead of what I see a lot in entrepreneurship is, and I still see it with a lot of very big influences in the space, which is, if you want to create a successful business, you have to work 80 hours a week and you have to devote your life to it, and everything else comes second. You have to work weekends, and that never resonated for me. I was like, well, that's not what I want. And if it means if I have to do that to create a successful business, then I'm not really interested. For me, there were other things that came first, and this is where I suppose values come into it. For me, my family and my relationships come before that. My own inner work practices, meditation, etc. They're more important to me than work. And so it really resonated when I found that I could actually, create a way of working that fit around that and create, supporting me financially as well. And so was that something that you actively thought about as well, or did you just naturally think, well, that doesn't suit me, the whole office environment doesn't suit me, so I can't do that, so I'm going to find my own path?
Yeah, I think so when I was working in an office, I think I did enjoy it, and I think I generally really like structure. I think that's something that if you want to create something like a lifestyle business, you have to be able to create structure in your life. And that's something that I had to really learn. And sometimes I still struggle with it a little bit. But I think I could see, I'm definitely someone who can see many different possibilities of what my life could be like. And I liked the structure that being in a corporate job gave me, but that was kind of it. There wasn't this kind of bigger dream that I had, being, I don't know, having the corner office. I just made a post about how I never thought about working in the corner office, and I always wanted to have kind of this space where I could create something from scratch and build something that's completely different. So yeah, so I think for me, that's always been in the back of my mind that I could see that possibility. But yeah, it is, I do sometimes like, and I did sometimes miss the structure. But I think in general, it's something that's more people maybe could explore as well, because it's definitely easier, I think, than most people think that they like, than I think most people even think that they can achieve. So yeah, I don't know. I guess like for me, yeah, it's always been a possibility, but I've always been able to see many possibilities in my life. Like I think sometimes I'm like, oh wow, there's too many possibilities, but I think that's what's the beauty about lifestyle business, is that you can just really hone in on that and pick and choose where exactly you're going to create value, which is really special.
Yeah, that point on structure is really interesting, isn't it? Because it's quite a jump if you've been used to having your days planned out for you. Like
Yeah.
that's what employment, or in particular corporate, is about, really, isn't it? You log in the morning, some emails come in, you got some Teams messages, and
yeah,
your day generally is, unless you're kind of at the top of the pile, your day is generally planned out for you. It's like, here's your job list for today, and you have to tick through the job list, and there may be some meetings involved in there. So
yeah,
that step then, I mean, for me, it was a huge step, a huge mindset shift, a huge energetic shift to go from, okay,
yeah.
now it's all on me, particularly if you're a solopreneur. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you've got a team working with you, so it's not all on you, but
Yeah, for me, no, I don't have a team. It's all
it's all on
myself.
you. Yeah, solopreneur.
Yeah.
Same with me as well. So
Yeah.
it's a huge jump to go from working within a team, having your days structured for you, and having a a regular paycheck at the end of the month, which you can rely on, to all of a sudden, wow, this is all on me. Like, I have to do the marketing, I have to do the sales, I have to create the content, I have to do IT if there's any problems, I have to do the finance stuff, although I have my dad's an accountant, he helps me out with that. But all of a sudden, that's a huge shift. But for me, it's a case of, you're going from somebody basically creating your reality for you, in a sense, is how I look at it now, the journey of entrepreneurship, particularly solopreneurship, to all of a sudden you are creating your own reality. So there's great things that come with that, in that you have complete freedom to pick and choose when you work, what you work on, how much money you make, obviously depending on the systems that you set up and the amount of work you put in. But the challenge with that is that you don't have the same stability and structure. So you have to create the structure for yourself. You have to create a routine that works for you. And then, you have months where there's a lot of money coming in. You have months where there's not much money coming in. So you have to what's been really key for me is to learn how to regulate myself emotionally during those times, in the difficult times when, okay, the business isn't doing so well. So, have to pivot and create something new. So
yeah.
How does that work for you in terms of the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of solopreneurship in particular?
Yeah, I really like how you said that. I think for me, the way that I like to think about it is like entrepreneurship or a lifestyle business is like a house, right? And you decide to take the ceiling off, right? So that's like with income, with lifestyle, with whatever. But if you're going to choose that path, then you also take away the walls and the foundation and everything. So suddenly you're like standing on the earth, and then there's no like ceiling. So like you can go up as much as you want to, but there's nothing else around it, and you have to like build that. So sorry, Mark, what was your question? I forgot.
Well, how do you sort of like cope with with that, because you haven't got the ceiling, but you haven't got the floor anymore? So is that something that, for me, it took many years to make that shift? And initially I was doing that both. I was doing the corporate thing to support me financially whilst I built the business. But it sounds like you kind of made that jump straight away, which a lot of people really struggle with, is that jump to, okay, I haven't got the stability anymore. And, that kind of overwhelms their nervous system, and they have to, they go back, they kind of jump in and out of that. But how do you manage that?
Yeah, so same as you, kind of like regulating my nervous system as much as I can. I think another thing as well that I tend to do is I try to give my brain as much space as I possibly can to be able to process everything that's happening, because like I think so often it's kind of like this idea of like working in your business versus on your business. When you are going through these like ups and downs and you have income some months and then you have too much, clients coming in another month, being able to kind of like take that step back and not be on your phone. Don't like first thing in the morning check your emails. Give your brain space to write things down, to go for a walk, to just like stay disconnected, so that you can actually kind of like take yourself like out of that stress and then into that space where you can get yourself into alignment with what the next step should be for you, and where you can make those like hard decisions. And I mean, I still definitely struggle with this, but the thing that always helps me the most is giving my brain space. And I think like it's so easy to be Googling or ChatGPTing, like, oh, how should I handle this? And what steps should I take next? But really it's about, taking that time to listen to your intuition and to your gut and write it down, and then give yourself more space. And then you will like you'll come out of it. Like no emotion is forever, no feeling is forever, so thank God for that. And then once you kind of realize that, and then can just take that step back, that really helps me cope with the inevitable ups and downs. Because that's the thing about entrepreneurship, it's like, at least for me, it's like been the biggest growth journey that I've ever been on.
Yes.
It's amazing how much of a mirror it is for you and all of your flaws and all the mistakes that you've made, and being out of alignment with your offers and building your personal brand and being seen by so many more people. There's so much that goes into it. So yes, giving your brain space to process is my number one tip.
Yeah, I remember you writing a post on that recently, actually, and being quite honest and vulnerable as we have to be as entrepreneurs, really, if we want to reach out and connect with people about anxiety, etc. And this is something that it's not like you create a lifestyle business and magically all the problems go away in life, and you're living this life of fun, freedom, and flexibility and fulfillment, and you're living in this kind of paradise. It isn't that. It's important that people should be aware of that. But I love what you said there about being the probably the biggest opportunity for personal growth there is, because like I said, it is all on you now. You are creating everything, you're generating your reality. So this is why I wrote a post on this today, actually. It's so important to really prioritize the inner work initially and as you grow, because what I found in the path, I did entrepreneurship programs, in particular how to create a business online, and it didn't focus on the inner work, what I call inner purpose. And so what happens is you step into entrepreneurship. It's not like an amazing 6-figure business drops in your lap in 6 months' time. What happens is that all of your old stuff comes to the surface, and then it's about that might come in the form of procrastination, which is a big one. It might come in the form of self-doubt, imposter syndrome. It's going to happen when you start stepping on onto this path. But what happens, I noticed myself and other entrepreneurs I connected with, was all that stuff comes to the surface and it's like overwhelms the nervous system, and it's, I guess this path isn't for me. I'm going to go back to the corporate job. I saw this so often in affiliate marketing. As soon as they started to put themselves out there, as soon as the results didn't happen straight away, it was like, I guess this isn't for me. I guess I'm doing something wrong. And they would go back to the old corporate job. Whereas actually, that's a good thing. When we feel uncomfortable, when the imposter syndrome comes up, when all self-doubt comes up, there's the opportunity. If you're able to feel through that stuff and process it, you move through to the next level of your expansion. So instead of thinking to yourself, it's a problem, it's not for me, it's like, great, here's some really difficult stuff that's coming to the surface, all the sadness, the depression, the doubt. And if you're able to move through it, and for me, support is really important for that. Still today, I'm always a work in progress, as you are, Mackenzie. still
Yes.
stuff comes up. Still, a month comes up where there's not much happening in terms of leads, etc. And it's okay. Here's an opportunity here. I'm feeling a bit stuck. And I actually get quite excited now at these times when I feel stuck, because I know I'm on the verge of a breakthrough. It's just about how to approach it. And I know if I focus inside on my healing at that point, I know I'm close to, some kind of breakthrough.
Yeah.
But yes, this
That's
is why
very
the work
interesting.
I found is so important. Mm.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's actually very interesting to approach it in the sense of once that feeling of discomfort starts bubbling up, to actually understand that that's growth in action, and that
Yeah.
that's actually when the real success, you're like on the verge of success when that starts to happen. But it's so difficult and so easy to just like not do it and just give up. I actually just read a book about this. I've made many posts about it too, but it's called The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. And she talks about this, like all of these self-sabotaging behaviors that we do, that when we're right on that verge of whatever it is that we truly want, we tend to go into this mode of like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And so maybe that can mean like, like all of a sudden thinking, oh, I made my affiliate website and it didn't make any sales, so now I'm just going to like not do this anymore, or it wasn't meant for me, or whatever. And it's so important to listen to that and recognize what those patterns are, and then really like lean into the discomfort. But it's so difficult, and it's something that you have to, it's an ongoing journey. It's always going to come up. And I'm sure people who have, like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, they also feel the same exact thing. And it's just about, you have to just keep going. And the dream is bigger than the growth that you're afraid to have. So
yes, well said. And I mean, it's probably one of the most used mindset phrases that I see on LinkedIn in particular, which is basically the same advice repeated over and over again, which is, if you want to succeed, you just have to keep going. Basically, you just have to be consistent. And I know you talk about this on LinkedIn as well, which is this: you committed to the 5 posts a week. And I know last week I saw you post about this, which is you missed a day. I think you were kind of busy on the Friday, and because of your commitment, you post on the weekend. You don't do post on the weekend. But so much of it comes down to, when you talk about success, external success, whatever you want to frame that, is just the ability to just keep going, to just be consistent, commit to the journey, and just keep going in the face of all of this difficult stuff that comes up. But in that world of entrepreneurship, it's like, well, you just have to keep going for long enough to experience success, to break through.
Yeah.
But what I found in that the world of entrepreneurship is basically full of this kind of these mindset quotes, basically, which basically is a variation of the same message, which is just keep going. But what I found was missing was, okay, but how do you keep going in the face of overwhelming doubts and procrastination, all this stuff? And for me, that was the bit that I wanted to build into my program, which is, okay, what do you do when that stuff comes up? You actually have to get out of the mind. Mindset stuff can only take you so far. You have to get out of the mind and back into the body to feel through the energy that's stuck in there. Because unless you do that, then you're always going to fall into the self-sabotaging pattern. So that's what really helped me.
It's very interesting.
Exactly. We all need to find our way of doing that. For some people, it's journaling. For some people, it's walking. Just something to help you regulate, to process this stuff as it comes to the surface.
100%. It's also, I think one thing as well that I think is also okay to admit is, like, if it does get to a point where you realize you don't want it anymore, like, that's okay. But if you ask yourself, do I want this or not? And you think, like, in that moment of, do I really want this? And then that you feel it in your body that the answer is like, yes, I still need to keep going. It's so important to give yourself space to just listen to that little inner voice, to just say, like, no, like, this is what you're meant to do. You're meant to be an entrepreneur. You're meant to have this business. You're meant to have this ideal day, whatever that looks like. But it's also okay to say no. It's not for everybody. I understand that, like, we really glamorize entrepreneurship, and it is an amazing growth journey. It removes that ceiling. It's incredible that you can solve problems for people. You can give real value, but also at the the end of the day, like you need to have that little inner voice that says like, I really, really, really want this, and I'll do whatever it takes.
That's a great point. That's a great point. It's and some, like you say, some people don't have that, and for some people, actually, I don't. I like to be very clear on the fact that I don't want to, because I talk about corporate so a lot, to demonize corporate as like being some terrible thing you need to get away from. For some people, some of my clients, it's exactly where they should be, and they enjoy it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you say, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you really have to have that fire in you to want to do it, and I think that's where having a real this work of purpose is really important, because unless you're aligned really with your values and your passions, and you have a clear vision of your life and the impact you want to have, it's unlikely that you're going to keep going long enough to get through that difficult stuff that's inevitably going to come up. And that was what I found with affiliate marketing. It was like selling online business courses, and for me, it wasn't clearly so fully aligned for me. And so when the challenges came up, it kind of naturally just fell apart, and so I had the opportunity to build something else. So that's why we have to do that initial work of, okay, am I really passionate about this that I'm promoting and I'm ultimately, selling to people? It has to really, and am I really passionate about the vision I have for my life and the impact that I want to have in the world? And so for me, that's why that initial work of purpose is so important, so we have something that can really drive us along the way. But I want to really go on to, I want to ask you something about content creation in particular, and how your story ties into that, because obviously this is what you're help people do today. So where do you often meet people at, in their own journey, and how do you help them on that journey to creating content that actually moves people in a certain direction? Because we live in a world now where there's so much opportunity. We were talking about before we started the podcast today, and with AI you could create 100 different posts for yourself and have content for the next year if you wanted to. But how do we actually create content that actually connects emotionally and actually stands out from this crowded marketplace?
Yeah, definitely. So I generally meet people on the journey where they want to create content on LinkedIn or on Instagram or whatever platform, and they have their business already sort of like working a little bit, but they want to expand it, right? So maybe they already have clients, maybe they are working a 9-to-5 and they want to maybe start something, or maybe they are service providers and they want to become founders of a product. Typically people come to me when they want to expand their reach and their visibility, but they don't want to do it with that AI because it sounds not like them. And also they read other founders and other types of content that they look at the AI and they think, oh, actually, I would never want to post something like that because that doesn't feel trustworthy to me. So they want to build that trust with their audience. And yeah, they also really want to sound like them and share their stories, but be in a professional way. So how can someone on LinkedIn, when they read my post, they want to see something that looks like me, sounds like me, but is also professional and makes them want to take that next step. So that's where I often meet people at the moment. And yeah, I think the biggest thing that I usually tell my clients is to just start writing down every single little story or idea that you have, and just get it out of your brain, because it's really easy to get caught in this sort of loop of okay, I need to post and I don't know what to post and what do I sound like and it's like what I said with when you're feeling a little overwhelmed with entrepreneurship, just take that step back, just write down the stories that you have, write down any ideas, what you would like to sound like as well. What do you want to be known for? Just do a brain dump. And then that's your initial blueprint of where you're going to go. Because that's what's coming from inside of you. It's not coming from ChatGPT. It's not coming from Google. It's not coming from somebody on Reddit who said you should do this and this to get 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. Yes. It's coming directly from you. And it also just helps you get started, because maybe you've done a few posts, but actually committing to that consistency, you need to really believe in your message and what you're talking about. So it's really important to just kind of take that step back, just write it down, that's your blueprint for the moment, and then get that consistency going. So make that commitment that I'm going to do 3 times a week or 2 times a week. It doesn't need to be like 7 days a week, because I've also made this mistake where I will be posting like, I need to do 7 days a week. If I post on LinkedIn every day for a year, I'm never going to worry about money again. And like, yes, that's probably true, but like, is that sustainable for me? And really, like, consistency is the game. Like, if you can stay consistent, you're going to win, and at the end of the day. So what can you do to actually make that commitment for yourself and stick to it? So that's kind of generally my advice. I think also because it's just so, when you're stuck, like, you can't even like see what that would look like. It's just like a blank space. Like, it's gray. Like, you don't understand, like, how am I even going to like tackle this mountain that I have in front of me, which is like building your audience and getting that visibility. So I'm a big fan of the brain dump. I love brain dumps. Just like, write it down. Put it in Notion if you want to, like, just anywhere that you can, get it out of your brain and onto paper.
Yes, I love that. I mean, this is essentially pre-chat GPT days. That's exactly what I did. I just journaled about my story, about, any ideas I had. I think it's a bit easier. I mean, I literally did this in the last module of my program. We go through the inner work first, as I've talked about, connect to intuition. Then we go through our hero's journey, which is a very powerful one, literally through our lives. And we pinpoint those times when we've uncovered gifts and value and skills that we can offer others. Then we go through, the Ikigai document, which is basically a Venn diagram of our skills, our passions, the change we want to see in the world and what we can earn money from. And only then do we start thinking about, okay, what could a business look like? Because we've really got to get clear on that work first, our unique story, before we go out there and start putting content in the world, I find. Because, I mean, once you're aligned in that way, once you know the value you have in your story, you know how you want to serve in the world, I find now that the content ideas come to me just on a regular basis. It's like, I'll just go for a walk, and it's like, something will drop in. Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. And I'm interested in your approach then to how AI comes into it. For me, I very much will have an idea. I'll loosely write it out into ChatGPT. Okay, because what I find is really important is to get your story in your unique point of view in there somewhere, because otherwise it will just sound like everything else on that social media account.
Yeah.
And you will just blend in with the background and get unnoticed. But if you can tag in there, start off with a story about your life in some way, it doesn't have to be, some of them I go quite deep into my challenges of the past. Some of them it's, I noticed this with my client this week, so if you can make it personal to your life experience, and I'll just quickly write it out very quickly. This is what I'm thinking. Here's my story. Here's what I want to get to, because you always want to tie it to some kind of value for the reader as well, not just go into here's my life story. Okay, it ties into, this is what I learned, and this is what you can benefit from this post. And what I tend to then do is use AI as a way to just help with the formatting, help with the structure of it, as opposed to, I think what you can do with AI is use it idea generation, and then if you ask it to just create the post for you, as I say, you're never going to stand out or emotionally engage. So that's how I use it. What's your kind of recommendations when it comes to AI in particular, so it can't start speaking for you?
So I think I have I have quite a similar process too. Recently it's changed a little bit though. Maybe this is a little bit of a hot take. I have completely stopped using AI when I write out my initial post. So everything that I say comes from like my brain onto, I have like a Notion content calendar that I write everything in. And I actually have completely stopped inputting that into ChatGPT. I don't talk to ChatGPT at all until it's for the formatting. But even then, I feel that I have gotten so good at the pacing of how I want my post to sound like, and where the value comes in, and what exactly I want that to look like. That, to be honest, if I do like put it into ChatGPT, it only maybe gives me like 1 or 2 sentences that I will change.
Right.
But for the most part, I have like completely stopped that in my content process. And it's just because I noticed that I was relying on it too much. I felt that I couldn't come up with like my own ideas with my own brain without having ChatGPT help me with that. And actually, when I made that shift, I definitely found that my reach had like skyrocketed. Like, I think as soon as I made that post where I didn't put it into ChatGPT, it was just for my own brain. I think I got like 40,000 impressions or something from that one post that I decided, let's not just use any AI at all. And that was an incredible insight for me, because then I realized that my brain is really valuable, and it's okay to use it, of course, to make sure that your formatting is good. And then if you do need ideas, like, it's totally fine to use that. But it's also, it feels good to like trust that like what you are saying is like coming from you, and you know, it, like, your brain is working and you come up with good ideas, and that's what's gonna help you get to where you are. I don't know, it's like a bit of a self-trust thing, like, oh yeah, like I can do this, and I can write something that people are gonna really like. And I don't I trust also my audience, and I trust that like I've read the data, and I know that like, okay, like if I do this formatting, like it's also going to be something that's going to perform well. So yeah, I'm definitely not like against AI. I think it's really amazing, but I definitely have slowed down my use of it, and sort of upped the ante on me just using my own brain for most of the heavy lifting. So maybe that's also, I could maybe do more with it, but I also realize that like it's also me and my story, and I want to make sure that I portray it in the way that feels good for me. So yeah, maybe a bit of a hot take at the moment, because everybody's using AI.
Well, this is the thing. It feels like we're at a bit of a crossroads here. Like some influencers, it's all about AI. Like I know some very prominent entrepreneurs in the space. It'll be like, well, the whole world is going to change. You've got to get on board. You've got to learn how to use it, which is one way of doing it. I've kind of been going more the other way, in that there are other creators. I look at, for example, Gary Vee, for example, clearly doesn't have anything to do with ChatGPT or any AI when he writes content, because he uses a lot of swear words, and it's very much like there's no formatting at all. It's just literally just like
a brain dump
coming direct out of his brain. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's what really makes his content so great, isn't it? It's just literally just like no filter, and that's the way he is as a person. Anyway, you see him on stage, it'd be the same thing. Yeah. So I think it's interesting. We're at a point where a lot of people are kind of, I think there's a bit of a backlash as well, isn't it? It's kind of like, okay, if you want to stand out, actually, you're better off moving away from it. But I think it's using it in the right way, isn't it? The way I see it is like an assistant. Exactly. It certainly can help you with the back end side of things, but so crucial that it doesn't speak for you. That's what I'm always saying. Don't let it speak for you. I know it's Stephen Bartlett talked about this, obviously, you know, Diary of a CEO, huge podcast. Yeah. He was talking about, well, I've got this agency now who are building AI generated versions of my podcast. And I know other creators have talked about this idea of, you know, creating AI avatars of yourself. So you never have to record a video yourself. You just plug in the script and the avatar will do it for you. And
yeah, okay.
I'm not a fan of that. I just think, I get it. I get it. You can just create content all day, all night, and just constantly bombarding people with content. There's a couple of things with that. I think it's, number one, I don't know if you'd actually be able to tell difference, but if you could, and I knew someone was creating an AI version of themselves, that would turn me off them instantly. That would destroy the trust I have with that person.
Yeah.
The other aspect to that is that I think that there's a lot of personal growth that you'd miss out on. For example, somebody the other day handed me a book that it had written by ChatGPT. I instantly just put it aside and said, no, thanks. I'm not interested in reading that book. It's not you. It's been written by a machine intelligence. And also, you know, just putting this podcast out today, we've had to, you know, make time for it. We've had to show up. We've had to prepare. we've had to face probably some nerves or anxiety or doubt that comes up that you have to work through, and there's a certain amount of personal growth that we go through just recording this podcast together today,
Yeah.
that if we got AI to do it, we wouldn't have experienced. We could have done it in
Yeah.
5 seconds and posted it. I don't know if you can do that. I'm guessing that's what's coming. So I'm kind of pushing back a bit. Like the same thing. I'll use it. I ask it questions during the day and things I'm unsure of. I get it to help me with formatting, because I used to spend an entire day going back and forth optimizing a post before AI. So I find it really helps me with that, so I can move on to other stuff. But yeah, I'm one of the people who deliberately isn't going down that route too much to create an AI generated business. I think actually the business that will stand out are going to be the ones that remain true to who they are and actually are human generated. I guess you kind of have a similar feeling, Kenzie. I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think we are definitely running into two camps: people who are just like fully embracing it, and then contributing to, like, I like to call it like the dead internet, like just all this AI generated content with AI generated comments and then AI generated DMs.
Yeah.
And then all of these, like, we're all like talking to each other, and it's not actually
AI
real.
is talking to itself, isn't it? It's
yeah, AI is talking to itself.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not actually real. It's not actually like a genuine interaction. And as we do more and more, it gets more and more bloated in that sense. And then suddenly, there's no more human anymore. And then there's, of course, that other side where I think you and me, we really like value that human touch and that human connection. And I agree. Like, I definitely predict that that's going to be the path forward. So it is very interesting. It also kind of makes me question a bit of, like, not question, but just like, what is value in that sense? Like you were talking about with that ChatGPT book that you read, and instantly you were like, no, I don't want to read that. But if it came from a human, we instantly place more value on that piece of work or that piece of content. And so, I'm really curious, like, how we're going to see value as we have more and more of AI generated content and books and films and like all the music and all this stuff. And actually, my husband, him and I, we were like, we were listening to some AI generated music, and we were just like, it sounds good, like it sounds like catchy, but there's just not the same like depth that you would get if you knew that like someone had wrote it. Yeah. So yeah,
well, they've been through the heartbreak that they're singing about, for example. With AI, they're talking about heartbreak, but they haven't actually. That machine doesn't know what heartbreak is. It's just kind of generating stuff it's found.
100%. Yeah. Like, I was listening to like Taylor Swift the other day, and I thought, wow, like this is coming from her own experience, and this makes it so interesting to know and feel this. But yeah, if I had known that Taylor was using AI to create it, I would be like, oh, okay, this is very different. I don't know how I feel about it. So
yeah, that's the thing. If you know about it, you have a certain opinion of it. But if you don't, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you saw a podcast with Stephen Bartlett and somebody, and it looked exactly like what you'd normally expect. And even though it was AI generated, then you wouldn't be able to form the opinion that you didn't like that. And
that's
it
true.
just become very murky then, doesn't it? I guess when you get to that point, because you always hear these AI presenters, and you're listening to them, and they'll halfway through they'll go, "Oh, by the way, I'm not even real. I'm an AI presenter." Then you have an opinion about it. Oh,
yeah.
Whatever your opinion is of it. But until then, I think it's going to get very murky, isn't it? A lot of what you see online, we're not even going to be able to trust. We're already at that point, aren't we? We don't know if that image that has been generated has actually been generated by, or that video is just AI generated. So, yeah, for me, I think human generated art or content is going to be valued above anything else as we go into the future. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is the value of community, because I know this is something you've built into your offer. Is it co-working cuties? I think, or something along those lines. Which I love. It's completely unique. It's not like the softpreneur community or whatever. It just that is uniquely you. And I built it into my community as well, which is to help people with the emotional process that goes on. Someone can sit with you and offer you support with my presence community. How important is that your offering, do you think? Because that for me is vital, and I think community, human connection is going to be something that really enables your offer to stand out in,
Yeah,
the world we're going into.
definitely. It's definitely the backbone of my entire business, I feel. I started co-working cuties on a whim. So it was just something where I had just started posting on LinkedIn, and I was like getting my consistency rhythm going. And I just kind of realized this would be so much better if I could do this with other people who are doing the same.
Yeah.
And also have that like focus time aspect, and also have that have yeah, just like a teaching moment as well, like be able to also like learn from each other and grow with each other and cheer each other on. Like I was definitely missing that, so I kind of just posted that I would maybe like to do something like this, and immediately I got so much interest. It was amazing. It was like overwhelming, actually. I was like, wow, okay, like
Wow.
this is something that people really need, and they like it and they want it, and they're also like willing to like pay money for it too. But I think the thing is like it's it's so vital, especially for entrepreneurs and people like us, because it's such a lonely journey, and you're going through um, all of these changes, and there's so much growth, and you're every other day your nervous system is dysregulated, and you have to get back to yourself, and
Mm.
just being able to do that together with other people is so incredibly valuable. So for me, it's definitely the backbone. My community is everything. I love them so much, and yeah, and I'm also just so amazed at how they've shown up, not just like for me and they're coming to co-working calls, but also for each other too. And I see how when we focus on that, it's a spiral effect of like positivity and growth all together. And yeah, I love it so much. It's amazing. I feel so much purpose with it.
Yeah, I was checking it out earlier, and I was like, wow, what a great idea. I mean, I'm a member of an entrepreneurship community, but I just love that because, like you said, particularly if you're a solopreneur, you are very much locked into your own world and your own thinking. Just have support along the way is absolutely vital, because we all got blind spots. We all go down blind alleys sometimes, and just having different reflection. The other thing I really love is that phrase that I'm always using, which is you are I think it's the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
Mhm.
So if you're building your own business, and for example, you're spending most time with your closest relationships, but also maybe you're still in a corporate environment, you're building alongside a job, then it's very that kind of energy and belief systems that you're around most of the time is what you'll default back into. So it's very easy
Yeah.
to then fall back into this old way of thinking, oh, I can't do it, or this is too hard, or it's not for me, because that's the kind of energy you're around most of the time. So if you're around people
Mhm.
who've got a different belief system, are actually committed to their growth and are having success, then you will naturally fall in with that way of thinking, and that it gives you more momentum and support along the journey. So I think community is absolutely vital. So I loved that you built that in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's incredible. Like just like for example, I think it was last week I had one of my cuties. So I always say one of my cuties
Mm.
came in, and just right away I was like, okay, like what are we going to focus on today? Because like that's what how we meet is we do these co-working sessions and we have focus time together. And then they were like, okay, so I'm trying to close a 5-figure deal here, and I'm trying to close this like 4-figure deal here, and I'm going to send these like 10 DMs, and I'm going to do this and this. And then just having that energy, even though it's like yeah, not every time, just knowing when you come in, and then that everybody there is working on that toward their goals. And then also in the chat, if you're struggling with something, you can come in and ask a question. Just even having that for 3 times a week is incredible. I definitely have seen so much transformation with that, which is actually really crazy to think that just focus time and community can help so much. But yeah, it's really amazing to watch also them transform and be around that energy too. It's really amazing. So thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely crucial. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I experienced it starting off in entrepreneurship and trying to do it very much by myself. And I found myself going in circles, not really going anywhere and making no progress. Sorry, my cat is
Yeah. That's okay. Hey,
she's in my
Bella.
face at the moment. Out the way, please.
She's like, I want to hear about community too.
She wants to go to her own community. Yeah, she wants to join. Beautiful. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I mean, what I really loved there is that, I mean, a lot of people who are in corporate, they know they're not happy. They know they want to try something different, but it's quite a daunting journey to then go, oh, maybe could I do entrepreneurship? Is that for me? And I like the fact that we've just hopefully outlined some ways to get started. Like you said, just start the journaling process. Look into your own story, get some ideas down, and you use ChatGPT, for example, strategically. That's what I teach, just as a thinking partner. And then it really is about just starting, isn't it? I mean, it's easier said than done, but for example, even if you haven't got an offer at the moment, just start posting. Just start getting something out there. Start talking about your experience, your values, your journey, and without focusing too much on the metrics, because that's what stops people, isn't it? It's like, well, I've got one like on this post. What am I doing? Just start. What I always say is just start getting stuff out there, testing it, and you might find that you get a post and 6 likes. Okay, interesting. Maybe you can contact those 6 people and say, oh, I'm thinking about creating something, like you said, with your community. What do you think, about this? And just start getting the ball rolling, isn't it? I know a lot of stuff, be prepared for a lot of stuff to come up, but it's just getting things moving in that direction, and just expect that it's going to take a long time. It is going to take work, and you just need to commit to that journey, for however long it takes. Anything you'd add to that, Mackenzie? Just for somebody who is just literally just like at the very start, at the bottom of the mountain at the moment, looking up and going, wow, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the getting started is, of course, incredibly crucial. And it's just like what you said, like once you start that consistency and you start actually putting yourself out there, the market's going to tell you which direction you should go in. Yeah. And it's actually really vital that you do those first very cringy posts or those really cringy videos, because it's gonna give you those data points to point you in that right direction. And you can't do that if you're just staying stuck in your head and thinking, I want to be an entrepreneur and I would love to have this like lifestyle business and I want to wake up in Greece every day at my beach house. That's not going to happen for you unless you actually just get that started and see what exactly people want from you. And so, and you also will find your voice at the same time. Yeah. So it's okay to not sound like you, or to feel like, I don't know how I can blend my stories, in with like my professional work. Like, it's okay. Like, you will find it. The market's going to tell you what they want from you, what they're going to pay money for. And also you're going to find your voice, and people are going to, they're going to tell you if they like it or not, basically. So it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to feel like, oh, is this a good post or not? Because that's one step closer to that end goal. That's that ideal day that we all want to have. Yes. And it's really vital. So getting started but it's the hardest step.
It is. And like they say, another very well worn mindset quote is, the only way you fail is if you don't begin. If you start and you fail, you've at least learned or grown on the path. But if you don't start, you're guaranteed to fail. But I love that. Yeah. And getting clear on that ideal day, something you just pointed out there, as we talked about, if you can, what I did, I journaled on my ideal day basically 6 years ago, what I was doing, who I was spending time with, how I felt, more importantly, where you feel is your point of attraction. So if you can generate those kind of feelings that are associated with your ideal day, you'll naturally attract it into your life. And the amazing thing is, everyone talks about this 6-figure business as entrepreneurship, 10K months. That's what everyone's aiming for. But ultimately, your ideal day may not involve you making those kind of figures. Not necessarily. If you want to live on a beach somewhere in Bali, it may be that you don't need to earn anything like that to create your ideal day. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs get caught up. It's like, 10K month, I must make a 10K. And that's comes from more of a kind of like, like I wrote a post on this yesterday, external validation. Like I
Mm-hmm.
must have this amount of followers, I must have this amount a month, and I must get to a 30K month, then I must get to a 50K month. And it's always like, I must have this many people in my team. It's like a comparison trap. Whereas actually, if you
Yeah.
know what lifestyle you want to create, you might only need a 5K a month, you might need 3K a month, or whatever it is, to live your ideal day. So that's why it's really important to get clear on that initially and optimize for the lifestyle rather than the revenue, which ultimately won't necessarily make you any happier. You can have a huge team and be completely miserable. You could be earning $1 million a month and be miserable. It
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily guarantee happiness.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also really interesting to just do the calculation. So think about on your ideal day, like where are you, what are you doing, like what's around you, and just do the calculation and see how much is it that you actually need to make in that month in order for you to just have that. And I think it's always going to be a little bit lower than you think that it will be. You think that you
Yes.
need 50K
Yes.
months, but yeah, if you can cover your health insurance, you can cover your rent, and if you want to maybe fly business class twice a year and you want to maybe do like salsa lessons, like calculate all of that and then see how much it's actually going to be. And it also makes it really tangible as well. And then you have that goal of like, okay, like I can definitely make, like 5K this month if I just do this like group program that I have. And you do all that, also that value work and the inner work that you do too. And it makes it just so tangible and so much more reachable. And it's
Exactly.
it's really nice when you actually calculated it out, because then it's like, oh, actually I could do that. Sounds nice.
That's it. Because freedom ultimately is choosing when you work and what you work on. And
Yeah.
when it comes to external freedom, definitely that's what we're all looking for, rather than tying yourself to a big business, massive team, investors. You might actually find yourself that you end up in like the corporate environment again. You might recreate that same set of restrictions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I'm very, yeah, I'm always very aware that I don't want to have that. And so for me, like an ideal team would maybe be like 3 or 4 people, but that's it. But even then it's like, do I really want to have a team? Like, am I happy just doing
Yeah,
it's more responsibility. And then also, then I have to like trust them as well. It's a whole other thing. So it's kind of, it's an interesting exercise to think about.
It is. Getting clear on what works for you. Some people are performance business, huge business is right. Again, checking in with your intuition, what feels right for you. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mackenzie.
Thanks, Mark.
Where would you like to direct people to? I know you got your own website. Anywhere in particular aside from that, LinkedIn or anywhere else?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. Feel free to also check out my website. It's just mackenziefly.com. And then if you're interested in co-working cuties, it's also just coworkingcuties.com, but you can find that via my LinkedIn as well. So come join the cozy community.
That's right. I think you can tell from Mackenzie's energy what kind of space that is. Really warm and safe, supportive environment. But yes, I'll put the links in the about section below on YouTube. So wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing so much value today, Mackenzie. And
thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do this again in the future and continue checking in on your progress.
Definitely would really like that. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks so much for joining all. Back next week. Bye for now.